Welcome to Cosmic Cake 11. I'm here with the whimsical and witty Marta Mari.
Hello, and I get the pleasure of being here with the very lyrical and very illuminated Rebecca Reynolds. And boy, do we have something for you today. You may not think it's wonderful at first, but pucker up, because you know what? Lemon cake is fantastic.
Well, it is absolutely delicious, but in this case, it's also a bit sour and a little bitter. The bitter truth that we're bringing you with some buffering. And we are talking about solar flares today and want to highlight and illuminate the solar flares and what they actually are and how they impact humanity and what you can do also to buffer them. And so what is a solar flare? Well, a solar flare is a huge burst of energy from the sun that is radiation. And that radiation actually, fortunately, does not come to Earth. So you and humanity do not have to suffer the consequences of that radiation. But the impact it has is pretty significant, especially to satellites, electronic devices, which can also be your computer, your cell phone. And that can create kind of havoc with communication too, the interpersonal communication, not just because of cell phones, but our brains are a wiring system, aren't they? And so as we work with our brain, sometimes we might be pushed into, in an untethered mind, we'll talk about that more in a minute, to saying things and doing things that we otherwise wouldn't because of the electricity. Marta, what do you have for us about that?
Electricity, that's fabulous. The Space Weather Live has shown that on the 5th of this month, we've had 5 solar flares. On the 6th, there were several. On the 12th, there were several. And just yesterday, the 13th, there was one. And there are more coming. If you listen to Pam Gregory, she will tell you that she's studying them very deeply and that supposedly we are, my brain's going. It's great. See how communication happens? I love it. So there's a fix for all this. Thank goodness.
Wow.
Right. My point being that we, in the past couple of years, 2018, 2019, there was only under 100 in one year, just 100 in the other year. But this year, there's predicted to be over 1,000 solar flares. So talk about electricity coming in. Yes. And that is why we have these glitches like I just had, and our computers do, and we have them with people. So the awareness of let's breathe a moment and not attack someone because we're having an electronic glitch.
Well, it's pretty astonishing to think about 1,000 this year. And, NASA has a report that the peak of all of the solar flares will be in 2025. So we're nowhere near done. We're leading up to 2025 with all these explosive happenings. And back to Pam Gregory, that's Pam Gregory's astrology. She's a world-renowned astrologer and we revere her. Oh, Pam, oh, Pam.
Yes, she is so wonderful.
The calming
Pam.
Yeah. She's like a breath of fresh air, and I'm careful to look up Pam Gregory astrology because there are a lot of people jumping on her line and pretending they're her. So she's an incredibly authentic woman from Britain, and she's like a 40-year astrologist. So we do honor her legacy and what she is doing in this world as supporting humanity. So, but back to the NASA reports, I mean, if you want to go straight to NASA's site, you will find out the scientific approach to how you are experiencing these solar flares. But on a human end, that's a whole other functionality. And to mention another great human who's doing prolific work out there is Sadhguru. And if you've not followed Sadhguru, his work is very spiritual and very grounding. And he was talking about the solar flares impact on humanity. And this makes perfect sense. It is and highlights the reason for getting ourselves together. He said that if your mind is already on the fringe, on the edge of hysteria, on the edge of being unkept, where you're not meditating, you will potentially have an effect of feeling like you're insane or feeling like you can't take anymore. The density will be so high. But if you are a meditator, if you're someone who sits in and says, my reality is being created within me, and you focus on that meditation deeply, you will have greater ease during these solar phenomena. Marta, back to you. What are your thoughts on all that?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I want to add that scientifically, quantum physics, I heard, was around since like in the 1940s. So, or even earlier than that. I apologize, I don't remember now. But so it shows that science and metaphysics are really one, and they do correlate and they do understand each other. And it makes sense that if you understand how quantum science works, that the metaphysical mind and how we function, and that we're made out of the same minerals as the rest of space, that we connect, so that when space is blowing up and the sun, our main central sun, is doing these things, our mind's going to do things as well and open us up. I believe you mentioned it earlier, but also so does Pam Gregory, that then that opens us up more psychically and in tuned. And the little bit of note here is, if we're going to open up and connect to things, as many people are, and sensing that there's things that they didn't know about, or feeling that they understand their dreams more, or see them, or sense emotions more than they thought, it is very important to work on ourselves, and meditating is a wonderful way to do it. It can be challenging for Western minds to do so. So maybe perhaps picking up a card, doing some yoga, doing something that centers you so that you can find your balance and not go like on the edge and fray, because we're going to be pushed. This is the bitter lemon part. We're going to continually be pushed, like Rebecca said, from NASA until 2025 or more. If you listen to Judy Satori, she does a lot of wonderful channeling as well from the center of the universe. And she will say that this energy is going to be coming in until 2033. So we're in for a little bit of work. And I think that just helps us elevate and take responsibility, which I think is really important at this point, of who we are and what we want to become and what we can do. Because the other thing is, now we're going to be in the photon belt, which opens everything up for the rest of our human lives. You and I, Rebecca, for sure. And all for it's happening.
Everyone, it's a 12
Everyone.
here.
Everyone, we're here with it. So we need to understand that we're opening. So that means we need to be attentive to how we take care of ourselves, so that we do it in a healthy way that helps us grow and feel comfortable and centered and find the solutions. Because unfortunately, we've already had 2 years of really challenging times, and that's brought a lot of people, and unfortunately a lot of children or younger people, to the brink where they have chosen to leave. And that's very challenging for everybody left behind. But it's a reality, because depression is real, and all these anxieties are real, and all these emotions are real. But we also have real ways to deal with them that would help.
Thank you for highlighting so much and for how long humanity has been in this incredibly dense time. Not that before 2020 things were blissful. We've lived in stagnation, in poverty, in injustice, and criminal acts. We are not our best society yet, but this does offer the opportunity to be moved towards. And so it does begin with us. And Marta, you said some brilliant things. And I want to go straight to the fact that it is up to each one of us to become our best selves. And what that looks like may start first in just the vision. It may be something you visualize and you think maybe at this time it can't be achieved. But if you're visualizing it, if you're seeing that, that is your guiding light. That is the beginning of accepting that I saw it, so therefore I can go towards it. Now, Marta, would you do us the favor of pulling some cards so that we have some guidance from your brilliant tarot skills?
Oh, it is the universe that comes through. The cards speak. All I do is hold them. So thank you. And the universe wants to say that the one of air, the way that we think of things, the one of air would be the first of swords, the ace of swords. So our ideas and thoughts, as tricky as they are, we need to be attentive and see how we can shift them. Okay. And bring in new ones. Like you said, what we focus on, if we focus on that that positive idea that if I can imagine it, I can go create it. This is true. Yes, we have other blocks, and they will tell you the subconscious and all that has other trainings and alignments. But if we don't take charge, who is it going to? If we don't decide that we're going to work on ourselves and only feed the positive thoughts that get us somewhere and empower ourselves and strengthen our decisions to make a better life for ourselves and everybody around us, then who is? Nobody. So I think it's really important to look at the ideas, since especially the solar flares will be testing them. The other card that fell out is Initiation 20, the world. As it keeps flopping around the world, 20.
Wow.
I will work on that lighting, but change. It's change. We really need, like you said, we want to create a better world because there's been areas that have not worked for everyone. And we want it to.
We desperately need it to, because balance is part of what nature is, and nature is a driving force for humanity versus humanity being a driving force for nature. We have
I
that
completely agree.
right. We have the
I
whole
completely agree.
idea that we're the superior beings here. And I'm thinking that when we come down to our knees and realize how grateful we can be for such a beautiful planet and the experience our soul can expand here. So a few really simple things, and you'll probably hear these few simple things over and over again, but we do support, when it works for you, essential oils. The master of all masters is chakrabox.com, and they are, Stephanie Palmer is really a prolific and wonderful creator of essential oils with gems in them and blessed on a certain moon, and they're all organic, and I can't say enough, and we'll provide her link. But this is just Clary Sage, a single option here for you to get just about at any store. And Clary Sage is actually a natural antidepressant. You don't take it orally. You mix it with a carrier oil and can put it on your pulse points, or you can spray it on your pillow. But keep in mind, the Clary Sage does help you balance energetically and help you come to greater peace and clarity in your mind, which I think we all need that. But not being an essential oil expert, I refer you to Stephanie Palmer. And again, we'll give you her link. The other advice I have, going back to the meditation, I don't want you to worry about the sitting still and focusing. As a matter of fact, I would like you to consider the labyrinth. And the labyrinth itself is a maze. And I always look at it as a brain, replicating your brain, and that walking through a labyrinth and chanting, especially one chant, like, I find the peace in all nature. I always find peace in nature. Will give you information as you go along the path. And it's very easy to find a labyrinth in your area because there's a worldwide site that literally has every single labyrinth in the world on this site. So you can't be far from one. And really, that's my last offering right now, other than, actually, I want to say drinking a lot of water. A significant amount, but not enough to deplete your electrolytes. So, a good quality water, and keeping your food super clean. This is not a time where you need to be bogged down with depressants like sugars and dairy and other things that make you feel heavy. Marta, any other future looking thoughts?
Those were wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for bringing in the fact that a meditation can be walked. There is walking meditation, and a labyrinth is a beautiful way to do so. I love that. I've done those, and they're very magical. They're incredibly magical. For those who don't want to sit, it's a great way to still the mind, but still feel like you're accomplishing or doing something. And it really works in the same way that sitting meditation does. It opens up the ability to see solutions, and it calms. It's so soothing. Thank you for, and you're right, they're everywhere. I did have one card that jumped out while we were talking, and I thought it's just
I
important.
love when there's a jumper in this case.
Right. When the cards jump there, that's
On
wonderful.
the pucker.
It's like, woo!
Ooh, I like that.
Simultane. So it's number 6. It represents the lovers, which yes, represents in a simplistic form can represent just our partners or our family. But to me, in this point, it is showing me the balance of yin and yang, male and female, as the Westerners call it, within ourselves. And that the yin is the focusing of the stillness and receiving, and that's what we do when we meditate. That's what we get when we do the labyrinths. That is what we need to learn, to hold center and be still, because all the yang is going to come at us, all that sun, these things are going to be there. It's a realistic thing. But if we realize, if we center and be still, at least internally, we'll be able to walk through all this. We can do it. We are here. Therefore, that means we are capable of doing this.
Marta,
That's what I believe.
and serene. And I want to say as we close that it's also a very holistic approach. Contact Marta Mari for any tarot reading to help her guide you. And you can find me for coaching and helping easing your path also at rebecca-reynolds.com. And we'll post both of the ways in which you can trust. We are here to help you. We're anxious to help you. And we thank you all for sharing our Cosmic Cake 11 today, our lemon cake. Take care, friends. Be well and be calm. Bye for now.